So today marks exactly 1 month since the deadly Boksburg explosion. The community is still reeling, with the devastation still lying literally at their doorsteps. Many are yet to receive answers on exactly what happened and who is to blame for the tragedy. Our reporter Mnisi joins us live from just meters from the scene of that horrific explosion. It was on Christmas Eve, Linda, that the people of Boksburg had their lives torn apart.
Yes, Michelle, and none of them could have thought that this is where they would be a month later, still reeling from the devastation of that deadly explosion. You'll remember early in the morning we were told that there was a truck that was stuck just underneath a subway bridge just behind me. If you look, it's now, completely destroyed, was stuck under that bridge. We're told almost an hour later it started, a fire ignited, in fact, and later exploded, resulting in the multiple deaths and multiple injuries. And what stood out at the time, Michelle, you'll remember, was just the extent of the damage and how far the fire went. I mean, from meters, even behind where my colleague Kevin is standing, just over to the other streets where a number of people were injured, some even dead, scattered all over the street here in Plantation in Boksburg. The devastation and the bodies lied as, of course, authorities came to try and help those who were injured at the time. And you'll remember, the confirmation that we got just after that explosion was that 10 people had died, with multiple still injured. And this happened right next to a hospital which also, felt the impact of, that explosion, the Tambo Memorial Hospital, which is right on my right. In fact, where a number of people actually were injured. We were told at the time of this explosion that about 37 people inside the hospital who had been nowhere near this particular explosion, were affected. It affected the structure of the hospital itself. A month later, the devastation still lies here. There's still no answers, Michelle, as to what could have really happened and who exactly is to blame. What we know is that the truck left Richards Bay and was heading to Botswana, and the big question still lies: how did the driver get to this point, and could people have been warned at that particular time? And that is what residents here in this area are still calling for even today.
And that's what those investigations would have been about, right? Last week, when Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi announced yet another death as a result of the Boksburg tanker explosion, it's what brought the number now to 41, the death toll now to 41 people who had lost their lives. He also said in that media briefing that he's been told police investigations have concluded, that the docket is ready now to proceed to court, and that a new case has been opened against the driver.
Yes, you'll remember it follows, of course, the driver being arrested and later released, in fact detained and later released, with the NPA saying that there wasn't really enough evidence to prosecute. And that's really at the crux of this case, sending the docket to the senior prosecutor, who will then decide on whether or not to prosecute, is critical. The fact that police have sent a fresh docket to the senior prosecutor doesn't necessarily mean it will be enrolled on the court roll. It means that they still need to decide on whether or not to proceed with these charges. But central to all of this, Michelle, will be, of course, the report on what happened here, which will then determine who needs to be held liable. And you'll remember it will also influence a number of issues around this matter. You'll remember there's also a class action that the affected families want to file against those who are responsible. So without that particular report on the investigation of what exactly happened here, where exactly are they directing these particular charges? You'll remember that even the company that is involved had initially cleared the driver, saying that he had all the required papers and all the relevant experience that he needed to drive around. So that investigation is really critical, not only to the legal processes that are unfolding, but also to the families that have lost their loved ones. A month later, many of them, speaking to my colleague Erin Bates, still not knowing exactly what happened and still reeling really from the devastation.
One family losing 5 children in that explosion on Christmas Eve. Linda Mnisi is live to us there at the scene as we continue to ask a whole range of questions insofar as that tragic incident is concerned. You'll keep tracking that story for us throughout the day.